10. Rich kids are higher risk for drugs. There is a misguided judgment that fixation is a sign of poor people. Medications and liquor influence individuals from all foundations, yet wealthy children are more in danger. One may be pardoned for scrutinizing this. What do they need to stress over? They have their horses and enormous stipends. Outcasts regularly accept a rich child popping ecstasy as carrying on of weariness. A recent report found that was not the situation. The genuine explanation is miserable and has destroying consequences. For years, the scientists followed several understudies starting with their secondary school years. Every student had rich guardians with a high standing and their schools demanded high accomplishments. For reasons unknown, the weight was excessively. Medications and hitting the bottle hard turned into a method for dealing with stress. At the point when they grew up and began their own lives, the weight disappeared, yet not the medication use. It turned out to be more regrettable. By age 26, their addictions were multiple times higher than the national normal. 9. They are less giving. In 2018, a gathering played for genuine cash. They assembled at a London college and were separated into higher status and lower status players. This reflected how a lot of cash every individual got at the game's beginning. The game had a basic objective. Every player gave cash to a gathering kitty. They were allowed to choose how a lot. After a round or two, the cash was part between everybody. A player's riches could develop either through possibility or difficult work. The individuals who earned their cash end up being the Scrooge McDucks of the gathering. They included the least. Things were not as childish as they showed up. The poor members had less to lose. Adding more cash to the kitty was additionally their method for urging the rich folks to do likewise. This expanded their odds for a greater return. Be that as it may, the large fish would not chomp. They had more to lose, and the individuals who earned their riches had even less motivation to simply part with it. 8. They waste cigarettes. In 2008, understudies in New Zealand gathered proof for an examination. They looked somewhat unusual at the same time. The gathering visited 6 neighborhoods in Wellington and got more than 3,500 cigarette butts. While nature expresses gratitude toward them, the genuine point was to see whether salary changes the way individuals smoke. One sort of cigarette demonstrated something very similar, paying little mind to the suburb it originated from. Rich and poor smoked roll your possesses down to a similar length. Be that as it may, cigarettes produced in processing plants or customized for a first-class client sold out the pay of the smokers. The remaining tobacco was scooped from the butts and estimated. More unfortunate smokers, with less to spend, annihilated their cigarettes down to the butt. Then again, the wealthier rural areas disposed of their cigarettes with 75% progressively unused tobacco. 7. They are more dishonest. The rich have unique stalkers. These generous creepers are clinicians, and they have been following the rich for quite a long time. The explanation? To perceive what benefit does to the human brain. The general view is that it preps individuals to appreciate the advantages of dishonesty. Researchers took their scratch pad to a bustling crossing point. The four-way was administered by option to proceed. The group noticed the model of the vehicles that cut off different drivers. Selfish drivers showed up from the two sides of the social fence. Yet, new, costly vehicles were multiple times bound to disregard the way that it was not their chance to drive. The analysts at that point moved their gaggle to a crosswalk where people on foot had the option to proceed. Each modest or old vehicle halted. Half of the costly vehicles overlooked them. In fact, they violated a law. Drivers must stop for individuals who need to cross. Elsewhere, the measurements are considerably starker. The affluent cheat more on their mates, their expenses, and at games. They likewise have the moolah to purchase stuff, yet are bound to shoplift. 6. Rich women choose older men. Before, riches was slanted in support of men. Hence, ladies picked suppliers and men put more significance on alluring looks. Both favored a more youthful accomplice. As ladies become more extravagant, they carry their own monetary security to the relationship. They never again look to men as suppliers, yet what good looking like they seem to be. In addition, they need more established men. This present pattern's notoriety even authored a name, the George Clooney effect. This squashed the misinterpretation that rich ladies act like men. As it were, favor a toy boy as an accomplice. This female move likewise changed how tip-top men like their ladies. As per an ongoing overview, they incline toward considerably more youthful young ladies than previously. 5. Their old age is longer and healthier. The best advantage of riches could be a more drawn-out life. Aside from seeing 100 years very close, the high society old likewise appreciate more long stretches of being truly free. Researchers discovered this amazing certainty when they looked at the well-being of more established grown-ups in the US and England. Both nations indicated something very similar. After age 50, rich ladies could expect 33 greater incapacity-free years and 31 for men. They could cook for themselves and get up, things the least fortunate networks begin battling with 9 years earlier. There are islands where individuals develop old without a fat financial balance. This demonstrates lifespan as a perplexing mixed drink of qualities: mentality, diet, and exercise. The radical contrast saw in the US-England study included riches as another clear factor. It diminishes pressure, which is perhaps the most concerning issue for well-being. Individuals with assets can likewise make a trip to medical clinics and pay for medications that keep up a decent personal satisfaction. 4. Wealthy parents cheat for their kids. In 2019, the specialists shut down a trick. Before the feds got wind of the wrongdoing, times were gainful. Guardians offered a firm incentive to ensure a spot at tip-top colleges for their youngsters. Through and through, about $6.5 million were paid to the con artists. 2 of the Guardians got with their deliver the treat container were on-screen characters Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman. Moral analysts were not shocked. The well-off frequently live through their kids' accomplishments. Moreover, the rich are progressively encountering class apprehension. More individuals are accessing their select world and seeing the lower salary kids swarm tip-top establishments as a severe pill to swallow. Many elites accept they are better than every other person. They merit the primary cut of the pie. This privilege drives their unscrupulous decisions, which is then legitimized here and there. In the payoff case, the Guardians utilized the reason that they were helping their kid. 3. Some believe poor people are happier. Individuals with higher livelihoods have an inquisitive, vulnerable side. Some imagine that lower-pay people are really more joyful. Anybody with an unfilled secret stash realizes the inverse is valid. To be reasonable for the vulnerable side, it was pulled from a little study. The 2007 survey prohibited men for reasons unknown as well. In any case, basically the majority of the wealthier ladies accepted that the remainder of the populace experienced less pressure. The explanation? The top workers saw themselves as busier. This is an extremely restricted perspective on what causes pressure. Yet the study was supported to a certain extent by other social examinations. They recommended the rich once in a while lean toward a blushing perspective on reality to feel less remorseful about their benefits. The less good shock they feel, the less inspiration there is to help other people. This could clarify why individuals with the monetary clout to change the world sit idle. 2. They pay less attention to others. A great many people will in general feel undetectable around the rich and groundbreaking. Notably, this inclination can't creative mind. The privileged has a propensity for overlooking people around them. All the more explicitly, any individual who is underneath them socially and financially. In 2016, researchers tried to pass off a flagrant deception to volunteers. In 2 separate analyses, they were informed that they were either trying new innovation or playing a memory game. The lying was vital. They could scarcely tell the more extravagant volunteers that they were being read for this irregular trait. One bunch wore savvy glasses that recorded all that they saw. While being under the impression of testing the gadget, each volunteer strolled down a road. The wealthy ones invest less energy taking a gander at bystanders from lower classes. Higher class members additionally battled with the memory game since they neglected to focus on pictures demonstrating faces. The elite probably won't understand how regularly they do this. People focus on dangers or potential dangers. To the world class, the lower classes are not a peril nor fulfilling. At the end of the day, nothing fascinating to take a gander at. 1. They overestimate their worth. There is nothing amiss with having self-assurance. Be that as it may, individuals from prosperous families may overestimate their capacities. Far more detestable, others trust them. The outcomes just serve the energetic rich individual. They excel in prospective employee meetups in spite of that others are similarly able. the individuals who succumb to their certainty may likewise later understand that they contracted an inappropriate person. This was the finish of researchers who considered credit applications and prospective employee meetups. Both included tests where wealthier candidates figured they did extraordinary. They really performed normal. Those with lower livelihoods were more in line with their own scores, yet it neglected to give them the edge. As referenced before, the elite's certainty dazzled the cash loan specialists and enlisting operators. This is an issue. Such individuals offer better opportunities to other people. In the event that they succumb to carelessness in candidates who accept they rock, at that point this could clarify why those with class and certainty issues fall behind, notwithstanding being as similarly as skilled.